You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker this week. We get to talk to Chris, the Crippler Leben, getting ready to fight Uriah Hall coming up here on UFC 168. That's a big card. Leben, Weidman, huge card, big event. It's going to be the end of the year, December 28th. Is there any added pressure being on a big card like this?
I'm kind of used to it. It seems like, as long as I'm not in trouble, they like to put me on this end of the year card. So, this won't be my first Christmas I've spent in a Las Vegas hotel room. Yep. There's always that. There's a lot of things with being on the end of the year card. I mean, obviously, I'm in training camp through the holiday season, which is a whole nother challenge in itself.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an honor to be put on this card because it always seems like they really try to pump up this end of the year card, to make the kind of finish out their year and make them look good. So they always, really try to blow up this last show of the year. So yeah, I'm stoked to be on the card.
Your wife is in law school right now, right, in San Diego?
That's correct.
How has that been with your training camp and now the holidays? Like, there's no Thanksgiving, there's no Christmas, and she travels with you quite a bit. So how's that going to work out?
It's rugged right now. She's doing, I'm in the last couple of weeks of my camp and she's got finals. So that's kind of like fight camp for law school, and they say the first year, is kind of how when they separate the cans from the can-nots, so it's kind of like, like SEAL training, they want to weed out the weak ones first. So this first finals is tough. She's studying about, at least 10 hours a day right now. So, we had to make some adjustments. One of the adjustments now is I'm using a company called Fresh and Lean. They deliver all my meals to the door. So she's not doing any cooking or shopping, since she doesn't have time to do all the cooking and shopping and prepping. I get all my meals delivered. And so, things like that make it a little bit easier. But, definitely been some adjustments.
How far away are you from Alliance Training Center where you work out at, from your house?
It depends how fast you drive. For me, it's only about 15 minutes, know.
So it's not too bad because a lot of guys are talking about, some of them especially up in Sacramento, they have like a 45-minute drive, twice a day, both ways. That's 3 hours a day in the car. You're looking at, twice a day, 15 minutes. That's only an hour in the car. It's really not that bad. But there, a lot of that travel time people don't realize can really wear on you as well as part of having your wife in law school and having to get your meals delivered and that kind of stuff. How are you adjusting? Like you say there's an adjustment, but are you actually really adjusting to this mess?
As best I can. I mean, that's, you kind of do what you have to do. That's kind of how it works out. So, I don't know if it's the most pleasant training camp I've ever had, but I'm getting through it. I'm in fantastic shape. I'm getting everything I need. And for me, I think it's good because kind of how that saying, idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about me in this training camp is there's no idle time. If I'm not at home, cleaning and cooking, or then I'm driving. Then I'm at the gym, and if I'm not at the gym, I'm driving here, and if I'm not doing that, I'm sleeping. That's pretty much it. So that's good in my case.
How, speaking of idle hands, how are your demons? You got them under control still? No problems?
Yeah. I'm doing pretty good. The nice, obviously we're always trying to stay on top of it, always watching. But the key is, making adjustments. So what it is now is my life is very structured nowadays. And with the way that they run the program at Alliance. All the way through the way that I live my life, at home, I keep everything very structured and very scheduled, and that for me really allows me to stay on track and stay focused on what I'm supposed to be doing.
And you talk about the best, the top 3%, the top 2% of all athletes in any sport. They're already talking about that structure. They're talking about this is what I have to do anyway to the rumors have abound about George St. Pierre, how everything has to be laid out the correct way just when he's getting dressed for a practice. So, the structure is a very important thing for professional athletes. But the structure for your last three fights hasn't really worked. You lost to Mark Munoz, Brunson, and then Craig. Has the UFC kind of put any more pressure on you to step up the game a little bit more? This is a big card. It is a big fight. You are a very polarizing figure. People love you or hate you, but everybody comes to watch you fight, win or lose. Is there a little bit of pressure coming from them going, hey, look, you might have your back against the wall on this one?
Well, I don't even need the pressure from them because I'm putting it on myself already. I mean, obviously I'm not in the place I want to be in right now. Since I've cleaned up my life and got sober, I haven't won a fight yet. So it's fucking definitely frustrating to say the least. I thought I won the first 2 rounds of my last win, but that's he said, she said, that all that stuff doesn't matter. That the bottom line is I need to get a W in this fight. And the only thing I can do is do everything that I can. Is when I come in the gym, is pay attention, is focus. When it's time to drill as hard and as intensely as I can. When the coaches are teaching, focus, pay attention. When I come home, eat the right things, put the right things in my body, rest, do everything that I possibly can do. And then, as long as I'm doing that, I know that, hey, it is what it is.
Let's talk about Uriah Hall, your opponent. What do you see from him when you watch tape? What do you think he's the most dangerous at?
Well, he's athletic, and he's tricky and he moves well. He's explosive and he moves well. I mean, I'd venture to say we're just polar opposites in the way we fight, Right. So, like they say, matchups make fights. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I seen him, with some pretty fancy spinning kick knockouts and stuff. But then also, his last fight, I saw him go out and not really pull the trigger. Now, to his opponent's credit, his opponent was able to dodge some pretty what would have been devastating shots if they would have landed. But nonetheless, he doesn't really have that killer attack instinct necessarily. I mean, he'll pull the trigger on something fancy, and if it doesn't work, then he's back to running.
And he lost his last 2 via split decisions, and you're right, John did do a good job. John Howard, his last opponent, did a great job of staying out of big danger and able to win that split. But Dana White's come out and said that, Uriah Hall's not the fighter we thought he was. He's not as good as we thought he was. Like, he's got his back against the wall. If he loses this one, more than likely the UFC's going to cut him because at that point he'll be 7-5. There's no reason to keep him around. He's not really, entertaining enough to people to want to watch him because his crazy actions aren't winning fights anymore. Where like that crazy spin move might all of a sudden knock a guy out. Well, oh my gosh, it's a highlight reel on ESPN. But if he misses it entirely, he ends up losing the fight. So who cares? Like it's not. He doesn't have that entertaining figure. Does that make you feel as a competitor when you know your opponent has his back against the wall, and you have that own perception of my back against the wall in this fight? Does it make it easier to deal with knowing that both guys are kind of one of us could be cut, or does it make it harder?
I think it's scarier, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just kind of like, it's kind of like a caged dog. You know what I mean? He's got to go out and fight to win, which means I know that he's training and he's working and he's watching tape on me and he's doing everything he can do to get this fight in the bag. He's definitely not going to be taking this fight lightly because he has to win. So from that point, I know that Uriah Hall is doing everything within his power to get his hand raised come the 28th, and so I have to do the same thing.
Let's talk about sponsors real quick. I've noticed a lot of fighters are having less and less sponsors on them when they walk out, and I don't know if it's because there's more money coming in or because there's less sponsors coming in. Are you having a problem, or are you like flush with sponsors? Like I have I've got the amount I want, I got the money coming in, or is the sponsorship game kind of falling off now with the UFC?
It really has. It definitely, the money that I used to get for sponsors has gone down substantially. Now, as to why, I mean, there's a few things you could say. One, in order for a company to be active, they've got to sponsor twice as many guys and be on the cards now because there are so many fights. And then there's the whole thing about the UFC getting involved with the sponsorships and wanting to get paid from sponsorships and everything that's going on there, and then the UFC getting their own sponsors and not allowing us to have things like energy drinks and Harley and now gun and knife companies, we can't have those. Those are all things that I had that have gone by the wayside now. So it is what it is. I mean, I think that the heyday of getting paid from sponsorships in the sport is in the past, and I don't see it coming back anytime soon.
Chris, thanks for coming on with MMA Oddsbreaker. Spend a couple minutes. I know you just got home and it's from practice. It's time for you to eat. I appreciate it. Good luck. I'll be at the fights. I'll see you here on the 28th. I'll be in. Obviously, it's my hometown, so I'll see you coming in. And I'll be alone for Christmas too. So maybe I'll hit you up and you and I can have Christmas dinner together.
Brother, thanks, Jake. Talk to you.
See you, bud.
Yep. Bye.